Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to do the book confessions tag. I was tagged in videos by Pat at Book Chat with Pat 8668, Lekden, Reading in the Depths at Rock and Samara, and Gavin at Genre Books 23. So thank you all for tagging me. I'm going to repeat what they said to properly credit the creator of this tag. Book confessions. This is a brand new original tag created by Becky at Reading with Becky. There are 10 prompts in this tag. The first prompt is, what is an unpopular book opinion / preference you have? I like romance novels, so that would be unpopular to some. I like YA, that would be unpopular to some. I like some romantasy books, that would be unpopular to some. I am fortunate that no one has expressed those opinions to me, but I know those particular genres tend to take it on the chin. And why, in the case of YA, it's because a lot of people don't think that's something adults should be reading. An opinion I have that I know would be unpopular to some is that I don't believe what you read makes you a better person than another reader. Specifically, I don't believe those who read classic books, books that are acclaimed, books that say are taught in college English courses, those type of books, I don't think that reading those books makes you a better reader. I read some of those books. I like some of those books. But I know there's people that think specifically those type of books makes them a better reader. I'm sure there's people that think they read other books that makes them a better reader. I know they think that people who read romances are inferior. But I'm especially focusing on the fact that people think that read those critically acclaimed books think that makes them a better reader. I disagree with that. And I know that would be unpopular to some. The second prompt is, has your reading taste changed over the years? How? It has changed some, I guess fairly considerably. My reading basically went to starting with the Hardy Boys when I was a kid. That's what I remember first reading. To sci-fi, to horror. And after that, over time, I really broadened out. I read a lot of different genres now. I have no dominant genre. So that's how my reading's different. It's just basically I read all over the place now. My reading has gotten very diverse. The third prompt is, what genre do you read to get out of book slump? It's not a specific genre, but I need to read a book where I'm interested in the characters and they're put in situations where I am concerned what's going to happen to them. I'm invested in what's going to happen to them. It could be a romance novel where I'm invested in the character. It doesn't have to be something like a horror novel or a thriller or something like that. But what it can't be is that a cozy novel, or at least a series of cozy novels. I know that a lot of people would probably recommend cozy novels to get out of a slump, but I discovered that if I have like a steady diet of cozy novels, that kind of is what puts me and keeps me in a reading slump. Not saying they don't have a part in my reading, they do. But I can't just focus on them, because that won't get me out of a reading slump. The fourth prompt is, what are your summary for Automatic by authors? First couple that come to mind are Emily Henry and T. Kingfisher. I'm also going to mention Linda Chang and Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, the last two are a bit of a stretch because I've only read one of each of them, but I am going to read at least one more book from them, so at least at this time they're a must-buy. The fifth prompt is, how many chances will you give an author before you don't try them again? I tend to drift away from authors. I don't ever recall making a conscious decision not to read something from anybody again. A real good example of that is Stephen King. I read Stephen King a lot in my younger years, quite enjoyed him. I think he was the top author to make me become a horror reader. but I didn't read them for quite some time. And recently I did do like a reread of Pet Sematary a few years back, reread part of Salem's Lot and part of It. But I didn't read anything new from Stephen King until recently. I read You Like It Darker, his recent collection, and I really liked it. So that's just an example. I never stopped liking Stephen King. I just drifted away from him and didn't read something from him for decades. And I recently did, and I'm planning to read some more Stephen King novels again. Yasmin Galenorn is an author I read a lot from, probably more than any other author, but I drifted away from her books too, and I'd like to get back reading them again. Never stopped disliking Stephen King or Yasmin Galenorn. I just kind of drifted to something else because that's what happens with me being a mood reader. Sixth prompt is, do you have anything you like to do, listen to while you read? The answer is no. I don't like to listen to anything while I read, even calming, say classical music, soothing music. I like it to be quiet. And I don't like to do anything when I read. This is maybe more applicable to listening to audiobooks, because I know a lot of people like to listen to audiobooks while they're exercising, doing chores around the house, driving to and from work. But even when I listen to audiobooks, I sit and listen to them the same way as I read, and as quiet an environment as possible. I mean, if I'm, say, at the car dealership and there's a TV on in the background or music on in the background, I can still read, but that's not my preference. The seventh prompt is, how far do you read before DNF'ing? I don't actually officially DNF books. I'm a mood reader. For me, what that means is I start more books than I finish. I often move along to another book and then another book and so on. I don't always go back and finish the books I was reading. It's not because I didn't like them in most cases. It's just because that's how I am. I read more books than I finish. And as I said, it usually doesn't have anything to do with my enjoyment of the books. That's just kind of how I am. Sometimes when I'm doing it on haul, I come across books that I started and put aside. In that case, I often decide that too much time has passed and I'm really not interested in finishing, so I unhaul those books. So in a sense, I suppose that would be considered DNF'ing, because I did make a conscious decision to get rid of a book that I started. But it's more that a time passed generally and I just don't feel like going back to it. The eighth prompt is, do you ever find yourself making the same faces as characters in the book? I don't recall doing this. It is possible that if a character is in a situation that makes it angry, I may make an angry face, but I'm not sure. I don't think I really do what is asked in this prompt. The ninth prompt is rereading, yes, no, depends. I don't reread too much, and the reason I don't reread is that every reread is a new book I can't read. I've reread a little bit. It's generally stuff that I've read in my youth and I read again. So I'm not totally against doing it. So it's not something I just never do. One time I will reread is if it's the choice of a book club I'm taking part in, and I will reread it as long as I liked it the first time. The 10th prompt is tag other booktubers. If you're watching this video and you think this tag is something you like to do, please consider yourself tagged. But I am going to tag a bunch of people. I'm tagging Pat, Nix, Smitty, Kayla V, Melena, Maeve, Nick, Heather, Brian, Fred, Flossie, Justin, Felix, Hannah, Jen, Sue, Daniela, Cliff, Philip, Elaine, Nigel, Kevin, Kelly, John, and Renee. Just if it's something you like to do, whether a video of your own or one or more of the prompts in my comments. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.